Hello again, everyone. This is the Alok Ahmed channel, Twitter, YouTube, Patreon, and it's August 10th, 2021. My lesson is titled Psalm 91, verse 3 to 4. You'll remember recently I did Psalm 91, verse 1. I want to pick it up here and carry on. I'll begin with Ecclesiastes chapter 12, and I'm just having us take a look at our own selves, like each person looking inside their own heart for this time that we are facing in the world with this pandemic and lots of other changes going on with people's jobs, repeated lockdowns, sicknesses and so on, different kinds of pressures in your life coming from here, there, and everywhere. How are we going to make it? At some point, we're going to be coming together. The Most High is going to do it. We have tried to come together under a different person here or there and so on. It just didn't work out. The Most High will draw us together. In the meantime, though, we have to take a look inside the heart, especially for the person who says they follow the Bible and they follow the Most High. You have to take another look at the Word to see what's going on inside your heart, and I'm going to deal with that again right here from this lesson here, Psalm 91, verse 3 to 4, but I'll read here from Ecclesiastes chapter 12, verse 9 to 12. Now, the chapter started out talking about the different stages in life and rushing quickly into getting into old age, and things have changed drastically. So he rushes from the youth of your days to your last days. You have lived through all you have lived through in your life, and now you have come to what he calls the evil days. And so if I can just kind of play on the words a little bit and personalize it to our situation here on earth right now, where we are going through what we might also call evil days, or days that are evil, just to borrow some of the sentiments and the feelings of some of what he might have been feeling in this chapter, even though he's dealing with a different scenario. He's talking about old age, and you're preparing, your body is letting you know you're about to die. But verse 9 picks up here, and it says, moreover, so he's saying over and above all of that, so moreover, because the preacher was wise, he still taught the people knowledge. So the preacher looked at all that went on in people's lives as they rush quickly in this fleeting life from youthfulness to old age, all their challenges that they faced, all the ups and downs in this life, the difficulties as well as the good times and so on. And he realizes that people sometimes become pressed and stressed at the end when they are in old age, and the keepers of the house, they tremble. And the nerves just don't work the same way, and you are in a lot of fear. You're wondering if there's anything you could have done different. Could you have prepared more for this time? And that's how we feel right now. It's like we're caught in this whole scenario where we're wondering, should we have done things different to be prepared? Because we didn't exactly picture this, but we knew something was coming one day. Could we have? I'm going to tell you right now, no, you could not have. You could not have. You see, sometimes we stress ourselves. I know you're going to say, well, I could have done this, I could have done that. Listen, I've been through all kinds of terrible stuff in this life and have wasted my time in this life. I mean, just to be straight up honest with you, I have wasted it. Like when you see when you hear someone say a storm of biblical proportions or something like that, and you see some great storm looking like something described in the Bible, and God's just wasting a land as some kind of judgment and so on, and people's lives are just destroyed, everything around them is just being washed away in a great flood and so on. I mean, things are just devastated. That was my life. Devastated more than once, just wasted away. So the person you see in my videos, or at least hear them in my videos, hear my voice in my videos, you're really seeing or listening to someone who has been through more stuff. If I told you some of the stuff, you would say, okay, this guy is not just someone we think is just calm and collected and just went through smooth things in this life. He kind of looks like it, but obviously upon hearing this and that he tells us, which I'm not going to get into right now, this guy has been through stuff. This guy's been through it. So don't you just think that I'm saying what I'm going to say to you in this video because of the times that we face, because I've never gone through anything that seriously challenged me. I've been through times where I just could not find a way out and did not care that a way could be made. It was just the end, didn't desire anything else. This is just it. It's just over. This life is just crap. And this is pointless. So to have come up over certain things and to find myself in this spot where I can smile again, where I can look at the Creator and know that there's still some tough days ahead, but I will trust, but I will go on, and I will look forward to the best. I'm telling you, it's just part of my testimony that I give already, even though I haven't gotten there yet. Where some of the things I'm looking for, have already taken place. But based on what I have seen so far, the goodness of the Lord, I can give my testimony already, because I know the future is still going to be even that much more magnificent than the care that the Most High has shown already in my life. Because I should not be here right now making a video talking to you like this. I've already tried in the past multiple times to take my life. I've already been there where I had to size up things and decide which way to go, or should I even go on. And when it comes to even teaching from the Bible, I put that away for years once, and then put it away again for years another time in my life, because I'm like, this will just never happen. But you see, the Most High, He walks people through different situations and He picks them up and He says, I'm just not going to give up on you. I started something in your life, and this is not something you started. I started it, and I'm just not finished yet. I was looking back in my life just maybe a week ago, and I'm looking at some of the things that I'm having to deal with right now, and I said, it's because of this and that I went through. One day I'll tell you some stuff. I went through some stuff when I was younger, and I said, this is very dumb, foolish choices of mine, and just totally ridiculous, but I got stuck. I got stuck in a very bad situation. No one could help me. No one assisted me. And I was just a younger, and I made wrong choices. People took advantage of me. I didn't understand stuff, whatever. I destroyed myself. And there was no one who could take me out. I was stuck. And it challenged everything that I ever thought or believed in. It challenged everything. And even after that, I continued to be destroyed in a situation that twisted me up for years. And no one delivered me. But it is now that I looked back this past week, and I said, I met a situation this past week that could have floored me. And as I went back in time, it just flashed into my mind out of the blues. And it's like the voice inside of me that we always see is the voice of the Most High. It's like it just said to me, that's why you went through that ridiculous and terrible and destructive to your life situation that you went through years ago. I took you that path in life and destroyed you back then, and cut you off from friends and family, from every situation you knew. I did that. I destroyed you. I cut things out of your life that you thought were normal because I was taking you down a path that would prepare you for something else that you had no idea would come into your life. Now here you are, this was 1 week ago, here you are in this situation. You just handled that in a different way and you were empowered, you made the right choice, and here is the blessing, and something good happened to me out of that. And the Most High was saying to me, you were empowered to make the right choice that brought that blessing into your life that I wanted to give to you. Because I put you in the training long time ago and you didn't try to get out. You had a way, you didn't try to escape. You sat in it, you went through it, and you did it, you went through it. Sometimes you have no idea why you go through the things you are going through, and it's just so utterly pointless. You will never know the hand of God in it until your eyes can see it. That's why the Bible says when He finally delivers us in end times, it says, then ye shall know that I am the Lord. My people will know that I am the Lord, and they will know that I am He that doth speak. I think that's Isaiah 52 verse 6. So you just never know what you are going through. And when we look at what we're facing in this life now, you just never know the fullness of it. And it will happen to different ones of us in different ways, while some things will happen to us all in the same kind of way. Different particulars will happen to different ones of us. You got to keep trusting. You got to find your faith. The challenge, you see, when I was just finishing up with Christianity, but not knowing I was finishing up, I thought I was just dissatisfied with the church and so on, because it wasn't like my old church that I was used to. It was different church setting, different people, and they ran things different. I was just getting bored with it and so on. I thought I was just dissatisfied with the church. And at that time, I started to look into matters of faith, like authors I was reading that were talking about faith is being challenged because people are not approaching their faith the same way anymore. And they were sizing up the whole situation and trying to see why people were not staying true to their faith anymore. People were falling away from the church. Pastors were now doubting their faith, even though they were pastors and so on. And, people were just going through different stuff. And I was starting to look at it because I was in church 7 days a week as a small boy, only to find out that I was in a place where I wasn't going to church for a couple of years. And so I was wondering, but I didn't know that something was just drying up to bring me into a different position in this life, where I would begin to look at the scriptures for myself, look at the world for myself. And so when you see a pandemic and things going on, and your job is drying up, and the fake smiles of the government is drying up and so on, you have to understand that if something is drying up, something else is happening at the same time. If you look through history, and you look through super ancient history, and they'll talk about the different geological stages and whatever happened on the earth and so on, and they tell you that at certain points in time, great floods come at a certain spot and wash away the civilization, and then they had to move and they go elsewhere, start over and so on. Or some place had some massive drought and the people had to move to find more lands and so on, and fertile places to live. So they move from one spot. So when there is a drying up of one land, people move and they go to another land where where water is happening and where the land is more moist and or more, they got more sustenance there. So if something is drying up in our lives right now, society is being taken apart slowly. The person who trusts in the Most High will not be overcome by the drying up of society, by the drying up of all of that. They will more see in the Spirit that there is a deliverance and a movement happening from the Most High that is moving the ones He is delivering into a different position, a different stance. So you see what I just did right there? I just showed you that your trust in the Most High does not have to die because things are dying all around you. This could just be a shifting to move you into another spot, another position. Because the Most High says He will cause, when He's delivering us, He will cause us not to stay upon our captors anymore. Well, if you're not going to stay upon them anymore, that means you are going to be coming off of their support system. And in that coming off of it stage, there's going to be some amount of uncertainty and some amount of uneasy feeling. But that uncertainty is what grows trust and faith. It builds surety inside of one's heart. When you look out in nature and a bird has some little ones and they got them in the nest and they go out and they're getting worms and they're coming back or whatever and feeding them. When they finally got to the stage now where they can fend for themselves, sometimes they're not even thinking that they're ready. The mother bird just knocks them out of the nest, and she's never seen them fly before. They've never flown before. They gotta just fly. She just knocks them out, or she just takes off and leaves them alone and whatever. When they get hungry enough, they gotta decide to go and get the stuff. Because she's not feeding them anymore. Nature shifts on them. And the support that was there, leaning on the mother, that has dried up. Because they are what? Naturally, by design of the Creator, moving into another phase where more things will be done by them and not by the mother bird. So when you are being moved off of the support of your captors, things are going to start to change and feel awkward and funny to you. You don't just curse the people around you just because you are feeling uneasy and the rent needs to be paid, the mortgage, this and the hydro bill and whatever. I'm furloughed from my job. You turn deeper to the Most High. This book you call the Bible or the Torah, it was written by people, no matter that people say things might have been changed in it, the original thinking behind it, the original words behind it, would have been given by people who knew that one day you are going to need a word to get you through, because jobs will fail. Your position on your job in your company will fail. Society is going to crumble. Things are going to come apart. Your support system will dry up. They gave you the one thing that will be sure to take you through. They gave you word. So that's why it says here, moreover, because the preacher was wise, he still taught the people knowledge. It doesn't say because the preacher was wise, he tried to store up billions and billions and trillions of dollars so that in 2021, some of it will still be available so that you can have it. But rather, because he was wise, he taught the people knowledge. That's why your knowledge was fought against for so long, to destroy the knowledge from you so that you will be destroyed. Because even the captors know that the word says that the Most High says, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. They fought against your knowledge so that you would be surely destroyed. But he taught the people knowledge. He taught the people that which would ensure their stamina and their deliverance and their longevity, so that they could keep walking through. Yea, he gave good heed and good heed. So he's not giving you no half-hearted stuff, because he's getting up old in age as well, and the keepers of the house might be trembling for him and so on. He's not giving you half-hearted stuff because he's furloughed from his job as well, and some kind of pandemic has come into his life, and it's just making him not feel like he can give his best anymore, because he's got to go out and hunt and find a little food for himself and his family to survive. He still took the time to give good heed, and went on a search and sought out and set in order. He set in order. He took the time to present it in a way where the word cannot fail on you, because he knows that in time to come, you are going to be under captors that are going to destroy you and disconnect you from your identity and so on, and that will destroy you mentally, physically, even in your body, even in your health and so on. And the only thing that will make you survive is a word. So he sorted out very well and set them in order, not just no haphazard throwing it down on the table. This is the word of God, figure it out for yourself. He set them in order so that they flow together, line upon line, precept upon precept. He lined up the word in a way where you cannot fail if you've got the word in your heart. Psalm 91, verse 3-4, I'm coming to get you. So verse 10, the preacher sought to find out acceptable words, and that which was written was upright, even words of truth. So he's not about deception now. It was upright, and it was with words of truth. It's upright. Now, the Bible says somewhere, probably Jeremiah, he made man, the Most High made man upright, but man sought many inventions. So men made many inventions, mean men started to fall because of the stuff that they got involved with doing. But before that, if he made man upright, that means there was righteousness before. Man was walking in a right way, and things were going well for him. And you get even the picture in the Garden of Eden where people were all right before they went astray. So the words that were written were upright, even words of truth. They were upright because they were words of truth. But now we've got many deceivers teaching us. Every Tom, Dick, and Harry wants to sign up for a program that will let them be a teacher and teach you things. And they have never connected with the Most High in His truth for themselves. They just sound like they are truthful teachers because they are teaching from the Bible. But even your own New Testament tells you, try the spirits, for many spirits are gone out into the world. So the word written was upright because they were actually words of truth, that they ring true inside, and when you hear them, you can tell immediately the people who are lying in your life and lying in your ears. You can tell the lying teachers from the truthful ones. But the Most High did say through Isaiah, the time is going to come where you are not going to wonder, you're not going to be wondering where are your teachers. You will hear the teachers. They're going to come forward. So the whole word has been designed to bring you to the place where you need to be. So if you are falling down because of a pandemic, falling down because of job problems, and I know it's tough and bills need to be paid and so on, I understand that, but just hang tight in your trust in the Most High. With words of truth. The words of the wise are as goads and as nails fastened by the masters of assemblies, which are given from one shepherd. The masters. Words fastened by the masters of assemblies. He's letting you know here that the words have been carefully chosen, like when some carpenter is looking at the right size hammer to use for a certain project and the right length of nails and the weight of the nails and so on. And he looks for the right kind. Sometimes he wants a nail with the head on it. Sometimes he wants like some finishing nail. He wants a different kind of nail and so on. and then he needs one, like a finishing nail, that nothing with like the regular head on it, but just the nail where he'll need to use a nail punch afterwards to delicately get it in the right spot, and then he puts the wood filler on it. So things are carefully set up. So he's telling you here that the words of the wise, they are carefully chosen and fastened in properly by the masters of assemblies. The masters, the ones who know how to carefully assemble and put the stuff together so that it does not fail. He says the nails are fastened, they are riveted in, because they are meant to stay and last and stay in position, so that when you need the word, it is still in possession. It is still in position, rather, with the right kind of stuff that will grab you and get you through when you need that time of support, because stuff has been fastened together. So you can hold on to it. Even in 2021, thousands of years after the nails were fastened in. Your sustenance and your getting through, your walk of faith and trust, and your deliverance has been designed. If you can only see it, only trust it by using truth. And be careful who you listen to. Let's run now to Psalm 91 and verse 3 and 4. So I just showed you that the word has been carefully chosen, line upon line, precept upon precept, and fastened together by masters, masterful ones who have been in the presence of the Most High, who were able to put them together in a way that they will not lose their strength, because masters did this. They fastened them together in an assembly that makes sure the structure remains when you come to a point in time when you need it and they aren't even alive anymore themselves. Because they know one day we will die ourselves. We will set this up so that our future people can depend on this word. Verse 3. But thou, O Lord, and remember verse 1. Sorry, I got the wrong one here in Psalm chapter 3, but I need Psalm chapter 91 and verse 3. Okay, so remember verse 1, I had said last week, he that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide in the shadow and so on of the Almighty. Verse 3 goes on saying, surely, so first of all now, he's going to talk about deliverance, and he's letting you know, as the masters of assembly put the word together like a nail that is fastened carefully, so now, this guy here now, the psalmist can pick it up, or, well, they say Psalms of David ended in earlier, Psalm 72 or something like that. But now, this writer is saying, surely, because you see, the writers of the Torah now, they are all very sure of something, that the deliverance of the Most High and the keeping of Israel is something that has been decided on already. So he can say, surely, we are convinced and we move past simply believing, but we know that he shall deliver thee from the snare of the fowler and from the noisome pestilence. From the snare, from the trap of the one who is trying to trap you and catch you and snatch you away. So you see, our time of being caught already happened already. It can't continue forever. Nothing in nature, just in terms of seasons and so on, continue just the same way all the time. They fluctuate, they rotate. You've been through your hundreds of years of captivity. We are moving into a different time. I don't care if we agree or disagree about 400 years or whatever. The fact is that when you look at the temperature of activities in the world that are going so hot with anger and violence and war shaping up, the temperature of war and so on shaping up, and the seasons and the weather's going haywire, whether or not you want to say the elite are doing this and doing that, whatever, the fact is that the world is once again being disturbed in a way that is very unpleasant for a lot of people. It is because we are not the main focus right now. They still got us on focus, but we are not the main focus right now. They're going to come back later on because something else is going on in the world right now. Something is shifting. But still, you are being set up anyway. The fowler is trying to catch you. The snare is trying to happen. But he shall deliver thee from the noisome pestilence, the bickering and the planning of war and trapping you and so on. All that is like a pestilence that's coming to devour you, but he shall deliver thee from out of it. So when the plans are there to snare you and trap you for what is ahead, it says the noisome pestilence and the snare and the fowler, it will not work out. That does not mean some people are going to be hasty and run and get themselves trapped and sometimes be cornered in some kind of way. But he shall deliver thee. So the masses will be delivered. That's why each person must keep their trust and their understanding in the Most High. He shall cover thee with his feathers, and under his wings shalt thou trust. His truth shall be thy shield and buckler. Under his wings shalt thou trust. Under it, not outside elsewhere, but under it. That means your trust and your focus is going to be in the presence of the wings, in the presence of the Most High. You're going to spend time in his presence. That's why David said in Psalm 27, he desires to be in his courts, in the temple all the time. He just desires. So, what you're facing, you remember even the story of the 3 Hebrew boys and they're being put in the fiery furnace and so on. It doesn't mean you're not going to be put into a bad spot. Now they're getting massive lockdowns and trying to mandate all kinds of stuff and so on. Look, the scriptures already said that the 3 Hebrew boys, as we call them, they were put in the fiery den. Daniel in the lion's den, in the fiery furnace. Daniel in the lion's den. So just because things are coming to a crunch and slamming against us, doesn't mean that you have lost the war. In a war, there are many battles. This is just another battle coming upon the world. Who is strong and who trusts in the Most High will survive. Will survive. Because surely he shall deliver thee, that's verse 3, from the snare or the trap of the fowler. So when Daniel and these 3 Hebrew boys went in, they're trying to do stuff to your body now and mandating it and so on. But when you look at these 3 Hebrew boys and the fiery furnace and so on, that's something that the king was threatening to be done to their bodies as well, to burn their bodies. Daniel in the lion's den, there's something being threatened to be done unto him, unto his body, that a lion would tear and rip his body and rip his flesh and destroy him. And the story shows that they were put in the situation. They were not diverted away from it. They were actually cast into the situation. They were put in it. But their trust was in the Most High. Whatever we have to face, both you and I'm telling you, your trust must remain strong in the Most High. You do not trust in man. If somebody don't do this for you, somebody don't do that for you, somebody don't. Your trust must be in the Most High. And when together, collectively, we trust in the Most High. Individually, rather, we trust in the Most High. Then it becomes one whole unit that collectively trusts in the Most High. And I'm going to show you that individual and collective stuff right here in verse 4. He shall cover thee with his feathers. So the protection is there, covered. Notice when these 3 Hebrew boys were in the fire furnace, they had their covering as well. Daniel was there and he eventually told the king, the Most High sent his angel to protect me and so on, and shut the mouth of the lion. That the covering of his wings were there with, of his feathers were there with Daniel. Even though he was in the presence of the lion. So he was in the presence of danger and he was put in the spot. They're saying they're going to lock you up in your house and you can't come out unless you go along with your plan. You are caught, you are trapped, you are in the den where you are trapped and you cannot get out. But your trust must still be in the Most High. They were covered in the lion's den or in the fiery furnace. Do you believe in covering when you are put in the bad spot? Or is the Bible just a book for you? You see, at least I can be honest because my heart has come alive to the Most High over the past couple of years. And so at least I can be honest and to say, I don't think some of these things happen just the way they did. I can just be honest and just tell you, this is how I feel about it. After all I've read and heard from other people, it seems that the Bible is more of a storybook, but a storybook meant put together by the masters of assembly to fasten nails, rivet in stories, and nails in the stories to hook you and get you at the spot where it really matters when you go through certain stuff in your life. Just like I told you, deliverance from Egypt was just a prophecy written to tell you about your future deliverance. The masters of assemblies, they wrote prophecy and made it look like something already happened because they wanted to teach you something that would be riveted in your mind, but that you should expect to happen to you later on in the future. The story of the Exodus was written like that, to rivet it in your mind, so that when the time comes, you are the one who should understand that you're coming out of Egypt. So he shall cover thee with his feathers. Maybe the people who are going to come out are the people who understand the teaching in the story of Daniel in the lion's den and the teaching in the story of these three Hebrew boys, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, in the fire furnace. Maybe those people are the ones who are going to lock onto trust for the deliverance of the Most High. When they understand that when you are face to face with the greatest danger, it is trust in the actual word that is in your heart that will get you through. That's why David said, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. I'm not going to fear when I get out of it and I just know that I'm not in it, so it's easy. I will trust still and not actually be in fear. So Daniel wasn't in fear in the lion's den and the three Hebrew boys in fear in the fire furnace, or the fire would have burnt them, or the lion would have killed them. Because the fear will not let your trust and the fear will not let your faith happen. So that's why governments use fear to get you to make some rash move. Because they are destroying your faith. They are destroying and removing your trust. It should be the mindset that says, no matter what I have to face, I will not fear. I will go through this. One of the ways that I've learned recently is just to have acceptance with things that go through, that come into my life. Just acceptance will help to catapult you into trust in the Most High. You lose your job now. Is it going to benefit you if you sit down, you're in fear? Oh, I'm going to lose the house. I can't pay the hydro. I can't, whatever. Well, if a way is not made by the time all this stuff happens, then just accept that it has happened. Just walk through it. The Hebrew boys are like, look, we don't know if our God's going to deliver us out of this. It's up to him. He is God. All we know is, from our point of view, we just trust him. So if you stand to lose your house and lose your car and lose whatever, all you can do is just have acceptance. Acceptance is a part of trust, of true, pure inner trust. You have to accept that you are human and that you are limited in a certain way. Wicked people are doing stuff to you and putting you in a spot and wrecking the world. But you just trust the Most High that no matter what happens, you figure you're not going to lose your house. Look, eventually you're going to have to lose it anyway. How are you going to leave Egypt and carry your house? What are you going to do? Put your house on your back? The Most High the elites are accomplishing different things through this pandemic. They are structuring society the way that they want. Plus, they are changing the way you work. They're changing the way you shop. You're changing what. You don't think the Most High is using this to accomplish his stuff as well? One of the things he can accomplish in this is the adjusting of your mind, getting you used to parting with your stuff, because he knows one day he's pulling you out and you're coming out of Egypt and you're going to have to leave some stuff behind. Remember now, when the people came out in the story, the prophecy story in Moses' time, They wanted to go back to Egypt because we want the fish and the onions of Egypt and the food of Egypt and so on, and we want the protection of the Pharaoh. Well, let's go back to the lifestyle in Egypt. We don't want to have to trust this Most High. And so they wandered in the wilderness trying to knock that stuff out of them. So you losing stuff now and learning priorities and so on now. You got to manage the little money you have and so on. You are learning that to come off your staying on your captives, like the Most High says, I will cause them not to stay on their captives anymore. The Most High is accomplishing this along with many other things. He's teaching you, don't lean on them. I am breaking you down and severing the connection with them. Because I'm going to do something new. I'm doing something new and different. All you see is just the tears that you wish to cry in your rear view mirror when you sit in your car and realizing you're not going back to work tomorrow because the job just let you go. They say they can't continue to survive this pandemic, so they got to let you go. You're crying in your car knowing that this is the last time you're driving home from that job. You're sitting crying in your car, instead of taking that moment to repeat a scripture, knowing that the ancients who wrote these words for you, that's what they did. They wiped their tears and they repeated the scripture over and over in their mind, that the Lord promised me his goodness. The Most High is my stay and my help. I will look to the hills from whence cometh my help. That's how they did it. That's how they made it through. But you want to just not lose your job so that you never have to repeat the scripture. That's why the scripture is not in your heart. You're sitting there crying. I'm not saying don't cry ever, but you're non-stop crying, you're boo-hooing. 5 months down, you're still heart-aching over all you have lost because this pandemic has destroyed your life. When are you going to understand that the life you know must be destroyed and removed and taken away from you in order to give you a new one? Sometimes a doctor has to destroy your body further to operate on you when you got a bad condition. The only way to save you from what is causing your internal bleeding is to cut you up even more and cause further bleeding to fix the problem on the inside. Then he patches you up and sews you up again. You got a toothache, it's hurting bad. So what does the dentist do? They inject you and cause a sting of pain right there, numb you up, and even sometimes when they're pulling that teeth out or drilling and so on, they're causing even more pain because sometimes you still feel it, in order to stop the original pain that you had when you came in to see the dentist. Sometimes pain is what cures pain. You losing your job is because you are in a system that is being destroyed in order to take you off the system so that the Most High can shift you, because he's getting ready to destroy the system that destroyed you and your people in the first place. And you're crying non-stop? Have some trust, my brethren. Learn a new way to look at the scriptures and to look at the things that you are going through in your life. So he shall cover thee with his feathers. I want to point out something here that I only noticed just a couple minutes ago before I made this lesson, because I've been dwelling on the word, and so it just comes to me, I guess, because that's where we need to be, dwelling on the word to make it through this time. He shall cover thee, so the protection there, the covering happens with his feathers. That means you got to be in the presence of the Most High. If the little ones are not in the presence of the mother bird, they're not going to get covered up by the feathers. They're just not. So you have to be constantly coming to the presence of the Most High, being in the presence of the Most High by dwelling on the scriptures. Not talking about the presence of your pastor or your camp leader. The presence of the Most High is what I'm talking about. But he will cover thee with his feathers, and under his wings shalt thou trust. Feathers, wings. Feathers, wings. Keep that in mind here. Feathers, wings. There's a difference here. There's a reason why the masters of assemblies riveted the nail carefully in that special spot, and they say, let's tell them not just wings, but feathers and wings. So you got to look at the function. The feathers now are going to have a certain function. It's specific to something, and the wings are specific to something as well. If he says he's covering you with his feathers, the writer then is letting you know that he's focusing on everyone, but he's giving individual care to you, individual thought, and that is expressed in the thought of his individual feathers that make up the wing. That means he has taken fine-tuned, detailed plan or measures to ensure that he goes down to the very individual feathers of the wings, so that when he's covering you, the little ones, under his wings, there are enough individual feathers to cover all of you fully, so you are not destroyed by the tempest, the wind, and being soaked out and drowned by the rain. Because he can cast his whole wing. But have you ever seen some scrawny looking bird that probably went through 10 fights over the past couple of months, and the dogs and whatever, like we used to see them in Jamaica, ripped off the feathers off them? We had to chase the dog from the bird, from the chicken. We had the chicken coop and so on or whatever. And we had to chase them to save them. But by the time we got to them, the dog had ripped off one or two feathers every now and then, and so you got the feathers coming off. So now the feathers are there and they're extending out from the main body of the wing to make sure there is individuality in the feathers to cover every gap. Which means what? The fastening by the masters of assembly. The Most High has taken individual detailed thoughts to make sure every feather is in place to cover everything you are going through at every stage, to make sure you are truly fully covered. This has been thought out before. Just like the heathen sit down and plan how to corner us, the snare and the fowler, they plan it out. The Most High planned out your covering down to the individual circumstances you're going to go through. And then he covers you also under his wings. So he has made sure all the feathers are intact, in place. How do you figure that out? Is by being in the Word, soaking up the Word day in and day out, to get the benefit of the individual feathers, where no loopholes are left, where you only know what the pastor taught you, but you didn't get that's just a wing in general, but you didn't get the individual feathers in your private time when the fear starts to rise up again in your heart, because you weren't getting the individual thoughts in your mind about what this means to you. What did the Most High actually say? You didn't make it personal. The individual feathers is you making it personal in the presence of the Most High. The things you read, instead of the teacher just telling you everything. The feathers are dealing with the individual that will search and seek for themselves to go under the wing and be under the covering. And under his wings, what's the functionality of wings? It's going to give that broader coverage. As a people, you're covered and so on. But what else also does it do? He's telling you that as my feathers have covered you, my whole wing gives a greater coverage, meaning I'm overseeing fully the whole protection, but I am also able to sustain you. That's the wings. So that you are not destroyed when you're there wondering how you're going to eat the next meal and so on. Maybe you are still trying to live the same way, but the Most High is just sustaining you through this time, because remember now, the abundance will come later on when you are delivered. But the wings are there because after he protects them from the wind and the rain, Then when it comes time, now they get hungry. The wings start to spread out and the bird takes off to go and get some little food and brings back to drop in the mouth of the little ones in the nest. The wings, the functionality is there. The feathers cover you when you need to be covered. Then the wings spread out when the time comes to go and get the food, to show that you have been covered, but you are also sustained and protected. I feed you through this time when you can't feed yourself. Have you been broken by the system that has left you down when itself is going down? Let the Most High be your covering. Let Him feed you through this time. I have just realized that things got better for me in a time of great worldwide disaster. I didn't realize. Now, who knows what next year is going to bring and the next little while and so on. Pressures will ramp up. All I can do is just go day by day. I'm inviting you to do the same. Trust in the Most High. Go day by day. Let Him cover you daily and feed you daily. Trust in Him. Do not have doubt about how things will be provided. People are telling you things that you might not be able to do. They're telling you, you got to go and do some online business. Great for those who can work for. Online business does not work for everyone. Not everyone it will work for. Not everyone can do it. It just doesn't work. So what about those who online stuff can't work for? You're going to just slip into depression because your own black brothers and sisters tell you, go do some online stuff. Well, it don't work for everybody. You can't just sink into deep depression because it don't work for you. You cannot go by what man says, but by every word of God. So if somebody tells you start online business, if it don't work for you, you must trust in the Most High's direction for your life, His prompting, His leading. Whoever online works for, let it work for them. Whoever stock market work for, let it work for them. It don't work for everybody. And so you thinking that you got to fit in the mold of what everybody is telling you, it shows you are not yet trusting and leaning on the Most High. No wonder we are going through all this. The Most High is teaching us to trust in Him. You must go by the direction that is coming up in your heart. And you get it by being still in the presence of the Most High. Like the psalmist says, be still and know. You're not going to know the strategy for your life, the sustenance for your life, the way, the direction, the path to take. You see, we read the Bible so much, and we do not believe in it. We do not know it. We do not trust in it, is what I should say. You read of Elijah and the Most High saying, hey, drought coming now, and the Most High saying, get thee to Zarephath. He's there. I'll let this bird, this raven feed you, bringing bread to you every day. And then the water of the brook, you're going to drink from that to be sustained. It's just a little. He's not eating the same amount of food he ate all the time. He's just being sustained with a little, the amount that a bird can drop. Then after a while, it dried up. People are getting checks from government, and after a while, it's drying up. But because Elijah was trusting in the Most High and following the instruction laid out in the word by the masters of assembly, who riveted the nail in it properly so that it would be dependable, the structure of trust in the Most High would be dependable, Elijah can depend on it and say, well, I will continue to trust in this dependable word of God. And once he trusted on that repeatedly, then when the brook dried up, he didn't sink down into depression, crying in his car, so to speak, endlessly. Instead, he tuned in by being still and knowing that I am God. And then the Most High said to him, get up, get thee to Zarephath. Going in a direction he might not have been planning to go to anyway. Are you being led in a direction that you never thought of? Get thee to Zarephath. Get up and do something new. Get up and do something. Get thee to Zarephath. Everybody's telling you, go do online business. Not everybody can do online business. Not everybody was going to Zarephath. It was just Elijah. When you start going by what your pastor says or your leader says, it is because you are not trusting in the Most High. So everybody got to be like a zombie doing exactly what the leader says. Do you have any knowledge of the Most High's word for yourself? He says, get thee to Zarephath, get thee to the place where I lead you to in your life, Elijah. Don't go where the next prophet is going in the land. You get yourself to Zarephath. I have commanded a widow woman there to feed thee. She has never met you before. She doesn't even know you're coming. Otherwise, she'd have been baking and be ready. He had to go there and tell her to get the stuff ready. Bake me that cake. And he had to create a miracle on the spot and tell the woman in an impossible situation to get something done that she said, you are out to lunch. The people who are trusting the Most High in this time that we're facing of massive lockdowns and mandates coming and so on, the people who are trusting the Most High. You see, the book says those that trust the Lord or know the Lord, something like that, will be strong and do exploits. How are you going to come out of Egypt anyway in the end? You are going to do exploits and you are going to get up and walk out of Egypt. That's what the book told you in the prophecy of Moses' time. It says the people got up and they walked out. They left. They left Egypt. They left the sustenance of Egypt. They walked out on the Pharaoh and the Egyptians. And they walked out of the system. Is there a system of doubt in your mind that you need to walk out of first before you can walk out physically of what has been holding our people back? I'm trying to say to you a question. Do you yet know the Most High, or do you just know the Bible? Do you just know the Bible teachings that your Bible teacher teach? Every time they teach this topic, I know what they're going to say next. I know what scripture next. Why? Because you've listened to them so long. Do you know the Most High for yourself, or do you just know the teachings? Do you just know that topic well, that you can now teach it back to someone yourself? But do you know the Most High in your heart? So he says his truth will be a buckler and so on. Thou shalt not be afraid for the terror by night. That's the next lesson. You are commanded not to be afraid. But look at what it goes on here now. Let me try to wrap this up. Isaiah 28:16, the latter part of it says, he that believeth shall not make haste. Why? Because he already said in the Psalms, he says, the psalmist, be still and know that I am God. Be still. So don't make haste. Sometimes you got to just relax. Relax. To be established in your trust. To hear the direction of the Most High in your life. Whether the Most High is saying, make a move right now, or be still for now, hang tight for now, whatever direction you are being led in. Last verse I'll read to you here, and thanks for listening. It was another long one. Again, I didn't want this to be so long, but Isaiah 50 and verse 10. This is going to challenge you now, the way I'm going to end this. And it's going to lead people into change who are not looking for a teacher, for a church to rescue them, a camp. They are looking for deliverance from the Most High, for direction from the Most High. Hear what the prophet says to you, Isaiah 50 verse 10. Who is among you that feareth the Lord, that obeyeth the voice of his servant, that walketh in darkness, and hath no light? Let him trust in the name of the Lord, and stay upon his God. Who is he that feareth? Who is trusting in the Most High when they are caught in a time of darkness? They are walking in darkness. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death. When the darkness is lurking around. When you can't see your way through this time that we're dealing with now, with this worldwide situation. Who is he that feareth the Lord? Notice the masters of assembly riveted the nail in the structure, the framework that the word builded for you to trust in, even though it knows you are going to be challenged in a massively great way. They still want to ask you here, do you fear and obey the voice of his servant, even if you are walking in a time of darkness and you don't have any light to see your way? Why are they saying that? Because the one who fears will receive light. Light unto my pathway, lamp unto my feet, or however it said it. Because the word gives you that light. So that when you cannot see your way through, the light will guide you. You see, we read the miracles in the Torah, but you have not seen miracles displayed in your life because of one thing, and I'll tell it to you now. The word was never in your heart. I'm trusting the Most High, and I'm just going day by day. You have to do the same thing. It's shocking that all this time, all these years, you have been trusting in the structure of the programs of your church or your camp, but not trusting in the Most High. Because when the trouble came, you dropped down low. Internally, I mean, I don't mean externally with your affairs and your job and so on, because obviously that part just happened. People's jobs fell away and so on. I mean, you're dropping down low inside. I don't lose any sleep over what's going on. None. And now I'm thinking I got to shift gears because there's something else I want to do. Because the Most High in all of this has been good to me. I trusted in his word and he has been good to me. And I'm only expecting it to continue. I'm not expecting to be destroyed in a fiery furnace, for my body to be destroyed. I'm not expecting a lion to destroy me. Doesn't mean I won't be in the presence of the fires that we're going through now and that are ahead of us, and that I won't be staring in the eyes of a lion. I'm just not expecting to be destroyed by that lion. Because somewhere along the line in the past couple of years, I decided to stop trusting in the pastors I knew. I decided not to trust in Hebrew Israelite teachers. Thankful for them, I'm where I'm at because of their lessons. But I decided I'm going to trust in the Most High. You see, most of us, we grew up in a church system where if the pastor don't give a certain word, we wouldn't know what direction to take. And that's why some of us struggle today in this time, because we never knew the Lord. Government's going to stop the checks. We never knew the Lord. That's why we panic. Even though we said all these years, I trust in the Lord is my help. Now you're not screaming that too loud, right? Because it wasn't in your heart. It wasn't the Most High you were trusting on. You were trusting in your pastor. You were trusting in your teachers. Those who were trusting in the Most High, they still say, I trust in the Most High and the way is being made before me. And so I say it here to you, my way is being made before me. My way is being made every day. I don't know what's going to come tomorrow. My way is being made before me. You see that? Because the one who trusts, he creates the way in his mind. And his steps are ordered by the Lord. It's the Lord that gives you the word to create the way in your mind. By telling you to speak that word, to speak that deliverance. Because it said that he blew breath into man, man became a living soul. So the word you speak is going to be a word of surety, is going to be a word of trust, it's going to be a miracle creating word. Because the Spirit is inside of you to create the way. You are going downhill because you are trusting in man, and man is now failing you. Because you are trusting in your job and job is now failing you. You are trusting in an employer and employer is now failing you because he is failing himself. So you are going downhill because your trust was in your teacher, your pastor, and now their church can't open up fully or properly or at all. They got to shut down the church because they can't pay for the billing anymore. And so you're going downhill because you're seeing even the faithful teacher is going downhill. So now your faith is dashed. You were trusting all these years in the man that was in front of you. You were never trusting in the Most High. You were not trusting in God. But here's the word giving you the invitation, because the masters of assembly riveted the word that would bring you back to trust in the Most High. Riveted the word in the structure to say, let this people return to trusting in the Most High. And you are hearing that riveted word in the structure coming back to you right now, because the masters of assembly, they set this up long time ago in the presence of the Most High. And the word rings true in your ears now to bring you back to say, stop trusting in your pastor, in your teacher, and so on. Love your pastor, love your teacher, your Hebrew teacher, love them all, support them, do whatever you choose. But in the end, your trust deep in your heart must be toward the Most High. Because when you're locked alone in your house or in your car, and you realize the service is over, the camp meeting is done, it's you and the situation you face, and you got to walk through it on your own. There is a space so tight that no friend or brother can walk through it with you. It's just you and the Most High. Will your trust then be in what system they set up? Or will your trust be in the one you call God? Will your trust be in his scriptures that have been riveted and fastened together by the masters of assemblies who already set up line upon line, precept upon precept to tell you this is the way to get through this time? Trust in the Most High, be still in his presence, and dwell upon the words, and know the words in your heart, know them in your mind, know them. When you know the word, it will open up possibilities for you. It will open up a light for you that will shine the way so that you can see. I hope somewhere in all my ramblings in this lesson that a light can begin to shine, that you can see some hope and trust, because we're all walking through together. Some are telling you about financial investments and what you can do in this time, and stock market and working from home and working online, doing whatever. Some are telling you all kinds of stuff and telling you they do their stuff, they know that, I don't know that stuff. I'm telling you what I know. I know word. Because I've been through some pretty tough situations in this life that will make you wonder, this little brother been through that? He doesn't look like he's been through all that stuff. I've been through stuff. Trust me, I've been through stuff that will make your head spin. He been through that? And I'm telling you, I'm giving you what I can give to you. It's like Peter said in the New Testament. What did he say? Silver and gold have I none, or something like that. Such as I have given. This is what I got. Other people tell you other stuff, and I'm glad I learned from them as well. I'm giving you what I've got. I know the scriptures. I know the word. Because the past couple of years, I've been coming home to it, and I can just be honest with the scriptures and honest with God. I read the Bible and I say, look, God, I don't understand this. And I say, sometimes I just say, this don't even make no sense. Show me what the truth is. And then when I go back, I realize something doesn't seem right. And then I go back, what did the ancients teach? The ancient Africans who would have written this, because this whole Torah is written in a way that has African life written all over it. How did they think back then? So I go read some other books and learn some other stuff about African stuff. What would an African be expressing if he was sitting down around a fire and telling this to the other people around him thousands of years ago before this book was written? And then when I come and size up this book now, this Torah with it, then I can get the understanding back. You see that? Because I don't just rely on some teacher or some Bible commentary that somebody just printed 20 years ago. You got to dig in from your heart and be searching. What did the ancients do? How did they live? What teachings are expressed in this word to find the way? And you can really find the way. Thanks again for listening. See you in the next lesson. Twitter, YouTube, Patreon, Yalak Emmet channel.